Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Facecam with Jen. And if you didn't know, this has been recorded the same day. It's actually about 2 minutes after I recorded the last Facecam. But anyway, today's Facecam topic is a little bit. Could be hit or miss with some people. But basically, I want to talk a little bit about the basics of sports entertainment. It also has been called wrestling. But you might as well think of it more like sports entertainment because, well, I'll explain a little bit. The basis of something like sports entertainment, and we'll just take WWE for a very good example because I know most of that history. Like, I know about 15 to 20 years worth of the history of that company, so I can work in examples talking about it. But basically what happens is just two people do a match, the winner's already determined, basically storylines and stuff. If you think of it more like a TV show, more like a play, but a very action-filled play, you'll probably go at it a little bit better instead of thinking that these are people just fighting each other and the winner's not determined. No, this is all a story. They're trying to tell you multiple stories in an episode. Something like Raw is 3 hours, SmackDown is 2. Those are the two main ones, and they do other stuff throughout the week tapered out on their network website, which is $9.99 a month, which is not bad for the amount of content you could go looking through, because they've got archives from their company, WCW, and ECW, all original, unedited footage, which is very nice. You can also watch the pay-per-views on WWE Network, which is very good. Anyway, and the content, going back to the story element, you start off with your good guy, which is known as a face, and your bad guy, which is known as a heel. There are some faces that kind of get in that gray area where they do stuff that seems like a heel, but they're still a face, and like they're the anti-hero gray line. Could we call it a tweener? I've heard it be called, but they're the anti-heroes, and the best example I can come up with, and these names and stuff you can definitely look into and find out a little bit of their history. The best one that comes to mind, and even today his stuff still carries on, is one Stone Cold Steve Austin. Man, even now, even though he's been retired for over 10 plus years, went to the Hall of Fame in 2009, this guy still brings massive, massive pop. He gets massive cheers. You hear that glass break, and the glass break is the start of his entrance music, so it's all very notable. But you know who this guy is. And a good chunk of the Attitude Era falls on his storyline rivalry with the owner of the company, and he's still the owner of the company, Vince McMahon. The McMahon-Austin feud is one of the best feuds in not only WWE history, but wrestling history. Definitely suggest, if you even go look after one single thing researching up, I highly suggest the Austin McMahon feud. It spanned over years, and it's one of the big reasons that WWE was successful. Also, you probably want to look up the Monday Night Wars, because this feud also helped WWE get ahead of WCW in the ratings. And it helped it stay successful. Big credit to that. So, Austin was always known for doing things that would have seemed like a heel, but he went over so great that it took a massive amount of stuff for when he actually did turn heel. It had to be the right people and the worst of heel stuff can do to finally get him to get those boos he's been looking for, because he was cheered so much. And they've tried a bit of things to keep things going. But anyway, then the elements, they build up to the pay-per-view match, which is usually, and I say usually, supposed to be better quality than what you get on TV. I say usually because there are definitely exceptions where pay-per-view matches stunk up the place. There's a couple that I did see on pay-per-view live that I can note off right off the top of my head that sucked ass. Made a good pay-per-view little lower in the scores because of a one match. WrestleMania 20, which I did see live, was all good except for one match. And when the best part of the match is Stone Cold just stunning both competitors because he was a guest referee, kind of shows how bad the actual match was. And it was a very good show. But anyway, the matches get matches go, normal matches, pretty simple elements. You could add gimmicks to these matches, like you could do a ladder match where the prize above is hanging, and you need to climb a ladder. Add tables and chairs to the mix, and you get some interesting elements. But you need to be careful how you throw these these extra special matches around. You don't want to overexpose people to this type of stuff, because then it loses its edge a bit. You want to be careful how a person throws around these matches. And WWE having 3 pay-per-views dedicated to gimmick matches: Money in the Bank, which is a type of ladder match; Hell in a Cell, which is a match where the match takes place inside of this structure, whereas the ring, some of the outside, and it's about 16 to 20 feet high. It's one of the more brutal matches that people can do, and it has caused injuries. Like it's hurt a couple people where it has caused injury and stuff. And then Tables, Ladders, and Chair, TLC, which I've explained. It's a ladder match with tables and chairs, and sometimes we'll do elements of a chair match, a table match, ladder match. This year they added stairs for some reason. I have no idea why they added stairs, except that pretty much meant they were probably using the steel steps that they used to get up to the ring, some people's entrance. But anyway, in these matches, people can and do get hurt during these matches. While everything might be scripted, the pain they go through for what all they do in a match, and even a simple match where there's not as much risk-taking development, every bump on the mat is painful, because the mat composition is whatever's needed to make the ring bounce a little bit, wood, then a mattress about 2 or 3 inches thick, and then that's all they get. That's what the ring is. The ring surface is comprised of. That's not very great. But they need to make sure they have the room underneath the ring and stuff to do what they need to do. And let's see. And there are various different things and various different tiers on how a wrestler goes through. Now, if you're a female wrestler, you're not going to get much of it anywhere, really, especially in WWE. You're just going to be in their divas things. Then they get like maybe 5-10 minute segments too, if they're lucky. And then they get maybe 15 minutes in a pay-per-view match. Being a diva in a WWE is not great. So if you are a female and you want to be a wrestler, don't go to the WWE. You probably don't want to go to TNA either. You probably want to go up as high up as ROH. Maybe. And that's probably about as high up as you want to get as ROH. Because you see some good work in ROH. WWE right now is you probably want to only go as high as NXT, and I'm not sure how well that works because I haven't seen. I've heard there's some good women's matches in NXT, but what you don't know is while Vince is in control of the majority of things, NXT is run by Triple H, and Vince has nothing to do with it. Shows a little bit of creativity and development there. Something caught in my throat a little bit. But for the male wrestlers, and there's plenty of them, you've got your lowest card, where they're usually going to be in the very beginning part. They're your curtain jerkers. They're the ones that kind of gain the attention and really set the tone for what everybody else needs to do. Then you've got your mid card. They're the middle. They're your meat. They're like if the curtain jerkers are the bottom of the sandwich, this is the middle of your sandwich. This is the middle part of your sandwich. And some mid-carders could potentially do the main event, which is usually the last match, unless they have a good special segment dedicated to the last part, which is the top part of the sandwich. Let's see, mid-carders. And mid-carders, some of them do become main eventers. Some of the main eventers may come down to mid-card a little bit, just to try to help the mid-carders get up to main event status. And then the main eventers are the ones who get the top championships, usually the top storylines. Usually have a little bit in the say of what their storylines are, especially if they've been at the top for a long time, aka John Cena. And not everybody in the top is going to want the talent to get up to their level. Taking a quote from one wrestler in comparison of two known stars in the WWE, Triple H and The Undertaker, to show the vastly different sides. He basically did a quote, and this was at the time, I think about 7 years ago, but it's still a very good quote to kind of show what the two opposites are. In the WWE, there are two mountains. At the top of one is Triple H, throwing all the rocks he can to knock everybody down, and he can stay up top. The second is The Undertaker, who is trying to reach down and pull you up so you can see the top, so you can view the top of the mountain with him. Vastly different sides. Both big name stars. But one is at the top and doesn't want anybody but who is already at the top. He doesn't want anybody new trying to shove him off, not to push him off the mountain. The other one realizes he's at the top. He's going to stay at the top. He's going to stay at the top while he is still a very good competitor. He wants to bring more up to the top so he has somebody to take his place when he's done. Difference between one side and the other. And sometimes you could tell if they're just feuding with the same people over and over, they're probably not somebody who wants to add more people to the mix. If they're doing main event statuses in different feuds, rotating, just going by a big vast pool of people, they're probably somebody who they want to bring up and show them this is what being at my level is like. Which is good. One understands the business a little better than the other. And the one who's understands the business is probably not one who's going to do a lot more after he's done. And the other one is kind of the one who's going to be in charge. Anyway. I mean, to understand more, you kind of have to... No, not yet. I've still got more I gotta add. And to be somebody at the main event status, usually you have to have a decent amount of wrestling ability. I say decent because if you can carry yourself on the mic and have a great amount of charisma, you don't need to have the best wrestling skills available to be good enough for main event. I take John Cena as a great example because he's got good mic skills and he's got great charisma. He's got these two. he doesn't have a good his wrestling ability is definitely passable. He can definitely carry a match. And he's been in some good matches. He's been in some good matches. When he's with somebody who has a great wrestling ability, it helps boost him a little bit. But he's good enough that he can still put 3-star matches regularly. He's at least that good. But there has been examples of somebody with a great wrestling ability. Their mic skills are they have some good mic skills. And they have okay enough charisma. Actually, they have almost no mic skills and almost no charisma that it works either. I just want to be careful about saying his name because unfortunately what he's done outside of the ring has tarnished a lot of what he's done in the ring. Some of you may know who it is. Just note that, and he's somebody, since he works for the WWE, and the circumstances around what he has done has caused his name to be pretty much considered taboo to a lot of the WWE and stuff. So please be careful when looking up the man known as Chris Benoit. Be careful about that. I did warn you. You will end up seeing a lot of dark ties to the end of his life because of the circumstances surrounding it. But great wrestling ability and having decent enough mic skills and decent charisma can also carry you to main event status, or at least keep you in mid-card. Now, granted, if you are decent enough if you just happen to have great mic skills, great charisma, great wrestling ability, you're going to make everybody look good. You have the potential to make everybody look very, very good. But you're also good enough that if you really don't want to do this, you could definitely make them look bad. 2 examples I can think of off the top of my head. Chris Jericho is one of those. But Jericho, because he's on the smaller side, like he's maybe 6 feet tall, about 225 to 230 pounds. Not exactly what Vince McMahon looks for, but Jericho is a very solid worker. Very solid, very good. Someone who should potentially go to the Hall of Fame, especially since they put inspiration. But Jericho is known for his hard work, his good charisma, his good mic skills. The fact the guy wrote 3 books on his own. And I have 2 of them. I still need to grab the most recent one, but I have checked it out and read it. And if you really want to read in depth more of the backgrounds of wrestling, I definitely suggest Chris Jericho's books if you want to read it. His books are in order, chronologically: A Lion's Tale, which does all his work before WWE, Undisputed from his debut to his second coming in 2007, and then Best of the World at What I Don't Know is his return in 2007 to 2013. Very good books to read, and he does a very good job narrating this all itself. He didn't have a ghostwriter. Basically, the person he was with was probably just checking his mistakes, because Jericho does have I think at least an associate's degree in journalism. I think it's Canadian, but still, he's very good at that. And most other wrestling books, besides maybe Mick Foley's, who is actually a New York Times bestseller, he's written children's books, he's written more adult-themed books, he's written into the background of it. Mick Foley's also a decent author, too. For somebody who's taken a lot of chair shots to the head and has done some crazy stuff, his writing skills are pretty decent. Most other wrestlers can't do that. Just saying. But anyway, there are plenty of ways to go research up. If you want to go look up segments. They're around on YouTube. Matches are around on YouTube. If you don't want to pay the $9.99 to look up the history, at least initially, you can. The next pay-per-view is the Royal Rumble, and that's actually what one of my next face cams is about. It's going to be about the Royal Rumble and some of the statistics and history of the Royal Rumble. And I love statistics and history of things. By the number, I love statistics. Shouldn't be this long, though. But we'll have about 20 plus statistics. I got bored and wrote them all on note cards. But I am such a nerd. And sometimes I go for the most obscure things ever. So see you on the next face cam with Jen.